What I wanted a stock analysis and portfolio management system that was fast, smart, and easy to use. When I did this in 1978, started doing it, I had a full-time job. You know, it was one of those 16, 17-hour-a-day deals. So the weekends were very precious to me, and I didn't have a lot of time to fool around, and I wanted answers fast. But that's what I wanted to do. So what I did is I designed a system that was fast because a framework was designed so that everything could be forced ranked. One thing I learned early on was that if you had a lot of things to analyze, what you wanted to do was to set up a system of analysis that would allow you to force rank what you were looking at. And so I set up a system with VectorVest where all the stocks could be forced ranked, all the parameters and indicators could be forced ranked, all the data could be forced ranked, so that you could, with a click of the mouse, you could see the best one, and you click it again, you could see the worst one, and if you wanted to scroll up or down, you could see all of those in between. I used to subscribe to Value Line years and years and years ago, and they analyzed 1,700 stocks. You know, they had, the number ones were the best. They had 100 ones. I think they had 200 twos. They had 500 threes and so on. And I'd always look at the top 100. And it seemed like, you know, which one am I going to pick? And I always seemed like I picked the worst one. And I said, you know, that's a lot of baloney. I want a system that if you open it up and you click the top ranked stock, that is the top ranked stock. And so I did that. It was smart because it provided information and answers and not data that needed to be studied until you got paralysis of the analysis. There are a couple kinds of services out in the marketplace. There are those that provide data, and they're very proud of the fact that they provide 300, 400, 500 pieces of data, financial data, everything you need to know from a balance sheet and whatever. And my feeling is, if you got to look at 500 pieces of financial data, you haven't got a clue of what you're doing. I took statistics years and years ago, and the one thing I learned is ignore the trivial many and focus on the vital few. And that's the whole idea. You want to focus on the vital few. So what we did was designed a system that analyzed the data, and from the analysis we got information. And from the information you got answers. This situation has perplexed many, many people that have tried to use VectorVest because they open it up and boom, the answer's there. They're not used to that. They're used to sweating blood for an hour or two before they make a single decision. I used to go to various meetings. Some of them were CanSlim meetings. Anybody here at CanSlim? It's a system that's promoted by Investors Business Daily. And I go to a CanSlim meeting and everybody was sitting there with their charts and working. And I would do in 3 minutes what it took them 2 hours to do. Because CanSlim, the C stands for current earnings. The A stands for annual earnings. The N stands for new products and things of that sort. You ever hear of Pareto's Law? You know, you can get 85% of the work done with 15% of the effort, and that's what I believe in. You do the 15%, you get 85% of the work. So with CanSlim, all you need to do is the C and the A. You look at current earnings and annual earnings. And if the current earnings are going up and the annual earnings are going up, chances are you got a winner, ball game's over. You found the stock you want. You didn't have to spend hours and hours and hours looking at all this stuff. So this is the kind of thing that we did. We provided information and answers. You didn't need to study a lot of data. You just got answers. And thirdly, it was easy to use. Everything we do can be done with just a few clicks of the mouse. Anybody ever hear of TradeStation? You write any software for it? TradeStation is famous for its complexity. And they're more famous because they allow people to write software where they do searches and things. Well, if you want to write software for VectorVest, go ahead. But the average person isn't capable of doing that. And so everything we do, you were here today. Did Dan or Bill do anything but click a mouse button? Does Dan do anything? You don't have to tell me. No, but all you got to do is click a mouse. We've done the work for you. And so it should be easy to use. Nevertheless, it still had to work. And VectorVest has demonstrated its efficacy for over 25 years as a commercial product. Nevertheless, we are always looking for ways to make it better. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, a better way to make money. I was having a delightful conversation with some gentlemen in the cocktails period. They were asking me, what strategy should I use? What strategy should my son use? I said, look, I'm going to show you a very simple strategy. Over the years, VectorVest started out being a very simple product to use. We started out in 1988. We sold our first product, and we published a little blue book. Ed knows the book well because he was a subscriber. He and his wife came to the office, and we talked about it, and he started using it. And the book started out with a little essay, and then we presented the top stocks ranked by VST Vector, and that's our primary indicator. And the stocks with the top VST vector value had the best combination of value, safety, and timing. And then the next page, you have the stocks with the top relative value, and those are the stocks that had the highest upside potential over the next few years. Then we had the next top stocks with relative safety and relative timing. We combine those three indicators, relative value, relative safety, relative timing, together to give you the VST vector. And so you could go from one page to the next, and you were always looking at top stocks. We would print the top 30 stocks, and in the bottom part, we had the bottom 20 stocks. So it's very easy to use. You may have noticed, if you're a subscriber to VectorVest, Dan, could you go into VectorVest for a minute? And click on that welcome icon there. We started here with our welcome, and the first thing we have is a tutorial that shows our subscribers how to build and analyze a watch list. And the beauty of this tutorial is that it allows them to put their own stock ticker symbols in the watch list. And so they can see how VectorVest analyzes their stocks immediately. And the reason why we did this is because the watch list is probably the most underrated but most powerful tool we have in the system. Because VectorVest is the only system where you could put in 5, 10, 15, 50 stocks, and one click of the button, the best ones are at the top and the worst are at the bottom. You don't have to spend hours and hours and hours analyzing which one should I keep, which one should I get rid of. You always get rid of the guys at the bottom, the ones that have the lowest VST or the lowest relative timing, because those are going down. If you own stocks long, do you want them to go down? No. You want them to go up. So that's what it's all about. So we built this tutorial into the system, and our new customers are learning how to use it, and I think it's going along very well. The next week we have a second tutorial that has to do with analyzing graphs. And what we teach is you want to own stocks where the price is going from the lower left-hand side of the graph to the upper right-hand side, because price goes up on the ordinate. And if it's going up on the right-hand side, that stock is going up in price. If it's going down, you don't want that stock. And we can tell, even before we look at the graph, from our relative timing indicator whether it's going up or down. The thing I'm going to talk about tonight utilizes the concept of the watch list. Go ahead back to the PowerPoint, Dan. But the watch list is a very important tool. Now the technique I'm going to talk about, identified right here, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. If returning to B is a step, that's 5. But the first thing we're going to do is build a watch list of stocks. And VectorVest, when you click it, it opens up automatically to the high VST. The best ones are at the top, the worst are at the bottom. Now I will tell you this, VST is an indicator that is very, very important when you buy a stock because it talks about value, safety, and timing. After you own the stock, the most important indicator becomes relative timing because that tells you whether the price is going up or going down. So once you own the stock, you want to sort by relative timing, okay? And you want to get rid of the guys with the low relative timing. So we suggest you sell the lowest relative timing stock having a relative timing less than 1, because that guy is going down in price, and you know, it's like pulling a weed out of your garden. Thirdly, you want to check the color guard for a green light. One of the most important things we do in VectorVest is we time the market. Now, for many years, that was a very bad thing to do. We used to go to the money shows in the 90s and early 2000s, and I'd want to give a talk on timing the market. And they said, no, you can't do that. Why not? Well, because you can't predict the market. I said, I'm not going to predict the market. I'm just timing. I'm telling you what to do. I'm telling you what the market is doing. Because the most important thing is to let the trend be your friend. They said no. Of course, 2008 came along, and buy and hold went out the window. Of course, it's coming back now. They're starting to talk about what a great strategy buy and hold is. I heard a guy talk the other day about if you'd have kept all your stocks, even though you lost 40 or 50% in 2008 to the bottom in 2009, you are now back to even, or maybe even a little ahead. Like the S&P and the Dow are a little higher than they were, you know, in 2007. In fact, they're hitting all-time highs. And so they're up 3, 4, 5% in the last 5 years. And they're bragging about that. Well, many of our customers, I've got some here, so I got to tell the truth, right? Many of our customers, you know, using VectorVest, they learned that the market was going down. They learned that in November of 2007, and we told them to go short, and we told them to buy contra ETFs. At least if they had sold their stocks and kept their cash, they were sitting nice and safe, and they didn't get hurt in that terrible, terrible market in 2008. And then in March of 2009, what did we do? Told you to get in, and it went up. So if you can, you know, buy low and sell high, you will do very well, and buy and hold can't come close to matching that. So we're going to check the color guard before we do anything, and a green light means it's okay to buy. You want to buy the highest VST stock, cherry-picked using Chappell's CPs. CPs means cherry picking, okay? And that's a strategy I'm going to show you. And then you return to B. You do this over and over and over again. And I'm going to show you a technique where you sit down once a week. I like to look at my portfolio on Saturday morning or whatever, have a cup of coffee, and size things up. In 15 minutes a week, you can manage your portfolio and make money. How's that sound? Yes. Sounds great. Okay, let's see if it makes sense to you. Now, the first thing we want to do is build a portfolio. What you got to do is go to Unisearch, find, there's a search, sort by name, put a W in here somewhere. Scroll down until you find the worst stocks over $20. There you go. Okay, now run search. Oh, you got to go back to 2012. There you go. We got 20 stocks, and notice they're ranked by VST ascending. And these stocks, on that date, they had the worst combination of value, safety, and timing. Folks, I don't know whether you can see this, but these stocks at the top have relative value less than 1, which is very bad, relative safety less than 1, which is bad, and relative timing, which is less than 1, which is bad, and the VST is less than 1, which is bad, and the little s means they're sell-rated stocks, okay? So those are the worst stocks over $20. I didn't pick any stocks lower than that because occasionally you will pick a low-price stock that goes up 1,500% and it ruins the whole presentation, okay? So we want to play the odds, put the odds in our favor. Now, Dan, could you highlight all these stocks? You're going to click on it. There they are. And highlight the 20, and we're going to put them into a watch list. Okay. And these are the stocks that were cited. He's going to click OK, and they're going to be in that watch list. Now, Dan, click on Viewers and find Watch List. Okay, and there's that group called My Stocks. There they are. And Dan's got them right there. See, the watch list automatically sorts them by VST, the top one, and actually this is the current date. So Dan, go back to December 31st, 2012. And these are the 20 stocks. If you want to get an idea of how these stocks performed over the next 12 months, Dan, click on the right-click on it, and view the watch list average graph. And this is what these stocks did over the next 12 months. Would you like to have a portfolio that did that?
No, most people do.
You learned to like it, huh? Okay, but these are what the stocks did. And so the technique we're going to talk about is a technique. Now, I don't want you to start out by buying the top 20, worst 20 stocks. That's crazy, okay? But I'm using this just for impact. But what you're going to do is you're going to take the stocks that you own and you're going to create a watch list of the stocks that you own. That's what I want you to do, okay? And I want you to sort them by VST descending. And even better, I want you to sort them by relative timing descending, okay? And so Dan, scroll down. So the first thing you do when you're going to manage your watch list is you have to decide what you want to sell. It's like weeding your garden. You have to get rid of the weeds and the bad stuff before you start planting in new. And moreover, on a practical sense, you got to know how much money you have to work with before you start looking around for new stocks to buy. So you want to see what you're going to have to sell. Go to January the 4th. I like to do this kind of stuff on Saturday morning, okay? So there's a stock here called Boyle, and that stock has to do with gas, and it's a terribly volatile stock. So you can right-click that. Then you can click delete, and that's gone, okay? Now, the next thing we said to do, you have your little pamphlets there. The next thing is you sold the stock. So the next act is you want to know whether it's okay to buy. The sequence is when to buy, what to buy, and when to sell. Well, we started out by selling, so we're trying to decide when to buy. And what you do is you would go to the home page. In real time, you would go to the home page. And all you have to do is look at the color guard. As of tonight, the color guard says, VectorVest does not advocate buying any stocks at this time. And the reason why is because the price of the VectorVest composite is down on a week-over-week basis. And you don't want to buy stocks when the market's going down. Let's go to Unisearch. I want a graph of a top VST stock as of January the 4th, okay? Top VST vector stocks, January the 4th, okay? And it happens to be a stock called Security National. Right-click on that and give me a graph of that. You notice that when we pull up the Midas Touch, we only have 3 lines here. And there's not a lot of up and down movement. It's just very simple. And the Midas Touch is a graphing technique that we have created that's like an X-ray machine. It gets rid of all the volatility and it identifies the underlying trends of these indicators. What we have here is the green line is a 10-day moving average of the stop price. Dan, can we change the color of this line here?
Red one?
Yeah.
Could you change the background?
Could you make it white?
I sure can.
Ah, we can see. Okay. We can see all 3 of them now. Okay, this is the green line is a 10-day moving average of the stop price. The sort of reddish line is a 65-day moving average of stop price. Now, stop price in and of itself is a 13-week moving average. So we're taking a moving average of a moving average. And that smooths things out very, very nicely. This down here at the bottom is a 40-day moving average of relative timing. Relative timing is a very volatile indicator, but the 40-day moving average smooths it out. Now, What we're looking at is a graph that Steve Chappell, he's our Director of Educational Services, he gave a strategy of the week on using this graph for cherry picking. And what he said if you find a top VST stock wherein all of these indicators were hitting 3 months highs, and here it's very clear that they're hitting 3 months highs, that's a good candidate to buy. Okay? That's a good candidate to buy. So your work is done. You're going to buy this stock because you sold one and you're going to use the money to buy this guy. Okay? If that's hard to swallow, you just paper trade it for a while and you get used to it. And you see there's a lot of power behind that. And the date of his strategy, I got it in the paperwork that you have, identified it. He gave this strategy of the week in September the 6th of 2013, just a little while ago. And I listened to that strategy and I said, by golly, I love that. That's terrific. Because we want it to be fast and we want it to be easy. And we don't want to fiddle around trying to guess. Okay, Dan, you can close that graph. What you would do is right-click on that, and you want to add that stock to your portfolio, your watch list. Okay, and so this guy, look at this. This thing pops up, and here's a watch list name, and here's the ticker symbol. So we're going to add that stock to the watch list. Okay, and we're done. And you buy that stock the following Monday at the open. Make it easy. Okay? We're looking at the top VST vector stocks. Dan, we want to look at the watch list. So click on viewers and go to the watch list. There we are. Okay, sort by RT descending. And there's SNFC at the top. Who's the guy at the bottom this time? You should find, there, that guy's good. See, it's got an RT of 0.49. It's got a relative safety of 0.82. The RV's not bad. It's above 1. But regardless, you know, we're going to kick that guy out. So you right-click and do a delete. Okay? And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into Unisearch. Okay? And we're going to set the date to 1/11/2013, and we got our strategy. We're going to go to the top VST now, and we're going to look at the top VST stocks. Well, I already bought Security National, okay, but I can't buy them yet. I didn't do one thing. I got to check to see whether we have a green light. Now we got a different stock up there. Let's check. So right-click on that. This guy, definitely, he's an easy one. And we would right-click on it. And we add to the watch list. Yeah, go to the Saturday, Dan. I mean a Friday. And here we are at 1/18/2013, and scroll to the bottom. Now what we have here is Shield, okay? And notice it has a hold recommendation. And what I've been advocating is you got to sort by RT, I'm sorry. Scroll down, there we go. What I was getting into, even if you end up with a hold down here at the bottom, and it's the lowest RT, and it's less than 1, I go ahead and sell it. Okay? So now you would sell AOL, okay? And you do this. You do this week after week after week. Okay? You know, we could spend all night going through this, but I hope you got the idea. What I did is I actually went through this through the entire year, okay? And I ended up with the watch list that had these stocks in it. sort by RT, Dan. And we had a pretty impressive array of stocks. What I'd like to do is right-click on this average graph. And this is the average graph of that portfolio. And I started with the 20 worst stocks. Okay, you just mend your portfolio once a week. Spend about 15 minutes a week. All right? Now, our mission is to provide the best stock market guidance available at any time. Okay? And next slide. And you can always get a hold of us. We're always there. We try to do our best to answer your questions and to help you out at any time. Are there any questions now? Everybody is sound asleep? Thank you.